So if you were to present the average gamer with the following question, what is the most horrifying sound you've ever heard? What noise just sends chills down your spine each and every time you hear it because you know what lies ahead is inevitable and you can only hope you're prepared enough to survive the incoming encounter? Now, what sound comes to mind? For normal people, the answers are likely something along the lines of the hushed breathing of the regenerator, radio static, screaming bombermen, attacking velociraptors from a certain video game series that makes me want to kill myself. And while, yes, those are some very valid responses, there is a slew of other sounds in this universe that make our bones rattle, and there's one in particular I wanted to talk about today. A sound that may have been overlooked by the masses, but nonetheless is one of the most horrifying noises I have ever heard. And if you've ever played Conflict Desert Storm, then you know exactly what I'm going to be talking about. Tank. Now, the Conflict series is comprised of squad-based tactical shooters in similar vein to some of the earlier Tom Clancy titles, and again, if you've played any of them, except Denied Ops, then you already know this. You control a squad of 4 men with varying strengths and weaknesses, and must plan your actions accordingly so you can actually survive to the next unforgiving map. Now, the game in and of itself is a far cry from any kind of horror, generally speaking. However, this particular sound is a bowel evacuating heads up that your checkpointless playthrough is coming close to an early and rather unfortunate end. The tanks in this game not only prove themselves to be difficult to eliminate, but are also capable of wrecking your whole squad before you even have the opportunity to figure out where the hell it's sitting. More than a few times I found myself pinned behind a wall by a single tank sitting in the middle of the road, and had to toss a coin and choose between a deadly route and a slightly more deadly route. And oftentimes this conundrum would result in using one of the less fortunate souls to play the role of cannon fodder while everyone else runs for their lives, maybe plants a C4 charge beneath the horrid beast. Either way, it's a run with your fingers crossed hard enough to form a DNA helix, and either way you lose. One of the most unnerving things about these goddamn tanks is the sheer coldness and how it dispatches of you and your team. If you're unfortunate enough to turn a corner and find yourself face to face with the aforementioned beast, the barrel will slowly turn to get a good beat on you, and waits for just a moment to let you grasp what the you've just done to your squad. It's like, yeah, you're kiddo, here comes the mission failed screen. So, yeah, you'll be moseying along the path to your objective just for the sound of a rolling tank to cut through the silence and quiet soundtrack, forcing you to scramble for the closest piece of what looks like cover in hopes that, firstly, it's large enough to protect you from the incoming blast, and secondly, that there's not any enemies on the other side of the wall fixing to turn you into a trypophobic nightmare. But we both know one of those isn't true. Now, if the fact that simply running into a tank wasn't horrifying enough, there are also segments in more open-ended levels wherein your only option is to either destroy the thing or make a mad dash to the extraction point, implying you've already completed all of your objectives beforehand. Now, in the latter scenario, it might make sense if you're running particularly low on supplies, aka large explosives, but there's absolutely no guarantee you'll make it out alive, especially not if the tank gives chase. And sure, as slow-moving as they may be, it might seem like you're home free when you're out of eyeshot, but the horrible, horrible truth is that in these open levels, you're gonna face high enemy resistance before getting to that beloved extraction point. So, God forbid you get pinned down by enemy fire while in the middle of a fucking mad dash. So, to bring this to a close, I've never in my entire life played a game where the tanks are actually that fucking terrifying. Especially when it comes to that hair-raising sound of the beast cruising along the sandy landscape, holding rounds that have your name inscribed on them. Dear God, he's expanding to social media.